Today's video is a blast from the past, which was our very first trip in our Tesla only 5 weeks after we purchased our Model S in Fremont, California, which is outlined in a video in a card above. Being new to electric vehicles, I was a little nervous to take our car on this trip considering it's 168 miles away from our house, which is round trip 336 miles, and we only had 262 rated miles of range on a full charge. When I looked up the website for In The Reservoir where we were going to be staying, they didn't list their amenities, so I called them and the guy I spoke with said they had electrical service for both 50 amp and 30 amp. I was still nervous I'd show up and not have the correct adapter, so he was kind enough to go take a picture of one of the electrical pedestals so I could see for sure what the outlet types were. I also checked PlugShare for backup options and found there were a couple, so armed with that knowledge, we decided to go with our Model S into the electric vehicle fast-charging desert wasteland of the Vernal, Utah area. Since then, you can see on this map, our 2015 Tesla Model S 85D has taken us on many adventures all over Utah, many of which were into super remote areas, so I've gained some confidence since then. Once we have our 500-mile range Cybertruck, it'll unlock the rest of the most distant and remote areas of Utah that I currently don't dare go to in our Model S. If you are interested in seeing these other trips I've made videos about, click on the card above. We packed up the car with all our camping stuff for a 3-day camping trip and headed out past Strawberry Reservoir and out to the eastern side of Utah. Girls, where are we going?
We're going on a camping trip and we're sleeping over there 2 nights.
Yeah, and we're going to go to the Steinecker State Park in Vernal, Utah, huh?
Yeah.
And we have 3 girls here in car seats. One there, and one rear facing over here. Hey, Clara. Hey, baby. So we're in the Tesla, and the back is full of stuff. And then we have the front full of stuff as well. And now, here we go. The drive out there was uneventful, which is good. And this was before I signed up for Teslafy, so I don't really have any detailed statistics about the power consumption of the car to give you. But if you are interested in seeing that, I have plenty of other videos that have that information outlined. So for this video, I'm just going to stick to the basics of we drove for 169 miles, which took us about 3 hours. We left home with 100% battery on our Tesla, and we arrived at 25%. We made it. We're at Steinecker State Park at their group site, and we are going to set up our tent right there, and then we'll go plug in the car to get it charged back up. They have quite a few 50 amp receptacles. They're NEMA 1450 receptacles, and I called ahead and they have a spot for us to plug in overnight and get charged back up. Hey Lucy, what is that on your face?
Oh, this on my nose? Oh, I touched a stick and it had black stuff and it got
You put
on
a
my
stick in the fire, and then you pulled it out and rubbed it on your face.
No, I didn't.
Lucy, is that fun?
Yeah.
Can you go no hands?
So have you guys camped here before?
Whoa! Good job. We're here right now charging at Steinecker State Park at the, they have a long-term camping area and they have outlets that they told us we could use, and you can see here we're charging at 30 miles an hour at the full 40 amps. You can see that information over here as well on the center screen. We've been plugged in for about 40 minutes now, and you can see there that we've gotten, looks like 29 miles so far. So it's charging at a good rate and definitely will be done in the middle of the night, so no concerns there about how long it'll take to charge. You can see over here they have the facility hooked up right there. You can see here they have the RV receptacle, the TT30. Then they have a GFCI protected 20 amp circuit, so the NEMA 520. And then this is the NEMA 1450 that I'm plugged into. And they have separate switches for them, so 50 amp circuit and 30 amp circuit. So definitely perfect for charging an EV such as a Tesla. It's now the next morning and the car is fully charged. And so you can see it's plugged in right there to that power outlet. And it has great power, charged at 30 miles an hour. To give you an idea of where we are, this is a long-term camping area. And you can see there's some picnic tables here, and there's that road that we drove up right there. The normal campground is beyond those trees over there. And you can see there's a couple more spots. You can see behind me there, there's somebody parked there long-term, and then there's a few other spots. To give you an idea of where we are, this is the Highway 301 that comes into the Steinacre State Park campground. Here is obviously where I am located right there, and you can see there's 6 locations there for long-term RVs. And then down here is the entry shack right there. And then over here is the normal loop. So that's a loop of RV camping spots all the way around. And several of those, probably around 6, are also electrified and have NEMA 1450 outlets. Lucy, what do you have?
I have a baby ladybug on my hand.
Let's see. That's cool. Lydia and I were looking for the water, and when we came over to find it, all we found was a dry desert wasteland, except for, you can see there in the background, right over our heads, they're doing some work on the dam, it would seem. There's a lot of heavy machinery over there. So, such is life. What do you think, Lydia? How'd you get some bubbles? Alright, let's go play with them.
I have been playing with the little baby ladybugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they get probably all over me.
What? That's crazy, Lucy.
Yeah.
Marshall, what do you have? That's a big caterpillar, huh? Are you upside down? Go, Lydia, no hands. Look, Mom, no hands. We did eventually go over to check out what water was left in the reservoir, and it was super muddy and windy. So we didn't last very long. Oh, what? It's stuck. Go, Lucy. Are you just hanging? Whoa!
They're gonna be up at 6:30 anyway, so we might as well make the most of the game.
Whoa, Lydia's being crazy. Go, Clara! We all had lots of fun with our friends on the campout, and on our last day, as we were heading out of town, we drove 31 minutes away, which is 20 miles, over to Dinosaur National Monument. Hey, girls. What are you doing?
We're making a family of these with these.
Oh, really?
This is the biggest one, and this is kind of the biggest one.
That's cool.
And our worries about supper. That's where
Browns Park, just north of the mine. reveals a different time period and environment that existed here in the past. Close to this bridge, and you're going to see blue vertical lines. The southern before we get on, the space for the statue to be kind of possible.
That we were riding was called the Shuttle. What do you think of the bones?
Oh, picture right there.
After having our fill of fun at Dinosaur National Monument, we then packed up back in our Tesla Model S and headed home. We all had lots of fun on this trip and we were glad that we went. My main concern when we were planning this trip was to ensure that we were not limited in any way by having an electric vehicle. Being that we were going on this trip with some other families, which obviously were all driving gasoline vehicles with no limitations as far as range and availability of fuel, I wanted to make sure that we weren't the weak link in the trip. I'm happy to report that we weren't limited in any way, and we were able to drive out there and back without having to pay for any fuel, other than the campground fee, that is. We left Dinosaur National Monument at around 80% battery on our car, and we got home with 6%. Luckily, I remembered to use the trip meter, and so we went 400 miles and used up 121.7 kilowatt hours, which is an average of 305 watt hours per mile. At Utah's average price per kilowatt hour for electricity, this would have cost us $12.17 to go on this trip. However, the electricity was covered partially by the campground for, I guess, our fee, and then the other part was covered by our solar panels on our house, which I guess we are technically paying ourselves off for that still. And if you're curious about how much that cost us to install, I will put a card above to the video where I outlined all of those details. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.